Beginning. The jungle of Zithara Prime was alive with sound. Every tree groaned under the weight of vines. Every shadow whispered with unseen movement. It was the kind of place where predators thrived, and prey rarely survived. The Krolith hunting party moved silently through the foliage, their chitinous armor glistening with condensation. They were professional hunters, apex predators in their own right. 8 of them had been chosen by their clan to track the most unusual quarry of all, a lone human soldier, separated from his unit after a failed raid. 3 days, hissed the pack leader, Sharthok, his mandibles clicking with confidence. The prey will be exhausted by now. His flesh will hang loose. His mind will break. We will claim his head for the Krolith throne. They were sure of their victory. Every prey species eventually broke. But this wasn't just any prey. This was a human. Miles ahead, crouched within the hollowed trunk of a rotting tree, Sergeant Daniel Cole was listening. His pulse was steady, his breathing controlled. He had been hunted before, on Earth during survival training in Alaska, in deserts under scorching suns, and in war zones where silence meant life. But never by aliens with infrared vision, claws that could pierce steel, and a culture that glorified the slow destruction of their enemies. Cole smirked to himself as he adjusted the crude traps he'd set in the undergrowth. They thought they were hunting him. That was fine. He was more than willing to play along, until it was time to turn the tables. Middle. Day 1 of the hunt. The Krolith tracked him by the heat trail of his body, their vision piercing through the canopy. Yet every time they drew near, the trail ended abruptly, dissolving into nothing. Cole had learned quickly that their senses relied heavily on heat signatures. So he rolled in mud, bathed in cold streams, and even wrapped himself in layers of foliage soaked in water. He became part of the jungle, unseen, untraceable. Still the hunters pressed on. At dusk, 2 of them stumbled into one of Cole's snares. A crude spike pit, masked by leaves, skewered one through the leg. The shriek tore through the jungle like lightning. His companion struggled to lift him out, unaware of the second trap, a counterweight log that swung from above, slamming into his exoskeletal chest with a wet crunch. From his vantage point high in a tree, Cole whispered to himself, 2 down. 6 to go. The hunters regrouped, shaken. Sharthok growled with fury, his mandibles dripping with saliva. This prey is cunning, more so than the archives claimed. Spread out. Drive him into the open. But they didn't realize humans had always thrived by turning the battlefield itself into a weapon. Cole wasn't running. He was guiding them. Day 2 of the hunt. By morning, paranoia gnawed at the Krolith. Every rustle of leaves, every insect chirp made them whirl with weapons drawn. Cole, meanwhile, rested inside a hidden burrow he'd dug beneath the roots of an ancient tree. He ate ration bars slowly, conserving strength, watching the alien patrols from concealed slits. When the hunters stumbled upon the remains of one of their own, dragged up into a tree, displayed like a grotesque warning, they realized the human wasn't prey anymore. He was taunting them. Fear spread like disease through their ranks. One, a younger Krolith named Drakthur, muttered, "He watches us. Every step. He knows where we are." Sharthok snarled and backhanded him, cracking his jaw. "Silence. He bleeds as all prey bleeds. We will break him." But even as he spoke, a distant explosion shook the trees. Another hunter was shredded by an improvised claymore, made from scavenged human equipment and shards of alien metal. Cole was bleeding them slowly, whittling down their numbers. That night, while the Krolith huddled together in a defensive circle, Cole moved through the shadows like a ghost. He left behind whispers, recorded sounds of their own voices, playing from salvaged tech. The hunters woke to echoes of their comrades calling from the dark, and they began to doubt their own senses. Sleep became impossible. Day 3 of the hunt. Exhaustion weighed heavy on the Krolith. Their movements grew sloppy, their nerves frayed. Sharthak was determined, but even he couldn't deny the shift. "This human, he hunts us now," he admitted grudgingly to his second-in-command. By then, Cole had learned their habits, their hierarchy, their arrogance. He knew they relied too much on group coordination. Break that and they would fall apart. So he began striking surgically. A snapped neck here, a slit throat there. Always fast, always silent. By dawn, only 3 remained. The once proud hunters who had mocked humanity as fragile were now shaking, their mandibles clacking nervously. That afternoon, Cole made his final move. He set fire to the underbrush, choking the air with smoke, forcing the last 3 into a clearing. Coughing, blinded, they stumbled into the open, only to find Cole waiting, standing tall with a scavenged Krolith spear in hand. His uniform was shredded, his face streaked with ash, but his eyes burned with a predator's calm. "You chased me for 3 days," Cole said coldly. "Now it's my turn." The Krolith charged. What followed wasn't a battle. It was an execution. Cole moved with precision, every strike fueled by discipline and survival instinct. He used their own momentum against them, driving the spear through chitin, breaking limbs, snapping mandibles. When the last one fell, gurgling in disbelief, Sharthak alone remained, crawling backward in the dirt. You are no prey," the alien rasped. Cole crouched low, his voice deadly quiet. "You should have remembered the first rule of hunting. Never underestimate what you don't understand." With that, he drove the spear through Sharthak's chest, pinning him to the ground. Ending. Silence returned to the jungle. The sounds of the hunt, the shrieks, the snarls, the fear were gone. Cole stood amidst the carnage, battered but unbroken. For 3 days they had thought themselves the hunters. For 3 days they believed the human would be an easy prize. But now their bodies littered the clearing, testament to a truth no species in the galaxy should forget. Humans had never been prey. They had been predators from the moment they first picked up a stone and realized it could kill. As Cole gathered supplies and prepared to move toward his extraction point, he glanced once more at the fallen hunters. "They'll tell stories about this," he muttered. "And maybe next time they'll think twice." Then he disappeared back into the jungle, a ghost once more, leaving behind a legend that would ripple through the stars. The day the hunters learned what it meant to hunt a human.